Hey Falcons, Joy Whittington, Director of Athletics. We are getting into week 2 of the Listen and Learn. I think you guys are really in for a treat tonight. We have one of our leadership consultants that's worked with the college. She's worked with a bunch of different corporations. She was on with the EPAC last night, which is the conference that we play in. She did a great job. There was a lot of engagement. There was about 80 student athletes on. And we're basically going to replay that. You're going to really get to hear from her. And she really dives into what it takes to be an emerging leader, not just in this COVID environment, but just in sport, in life in general. And Coach Beth Ann does a great job of correlating life and sport, and how when we're disciplined in our sport, it should correlate to us being disciplined in our life. And that's academics, that's personal, that's family, whatever that means. So we're excited to give you the preview of what she's talked about last night. Please remember a couple things with Zoom. Or make sure you're muted when you pop in so that we can hear you well. It's really important that we can see from your shoulders up. You want to just be focused, paying attention in a well-lit area. You don't want to really be laying down. You don't want to be distracted. It just makes it really hard for the other members in the session to get what they need to get out of it. But we're excited and have fun. Enjoy it.
All right. Hello, everyone. We're going to get started. As people trickle in, they'll come in, but we're going to get started with this discussion. My name is Nair Miller. I'm the coordinator of athletics at Montgomery County Community College. I want to welcome you to the first ever EPAC Leadership Series. I know while we're not competing this fall, I think it's great we're able to get everyone together in this platform to start this conversation. Hopefully the EPAC Leadership Series provides you with a platform for positive dialogue on various topics that will foster learning and growth. We'll have these leadership conversations throughout the year. We'll have a total of 6 of them. So there's plenty of opportunity for you to get involved and get engaged. I want to thank all the athletic directors and coaches that have helped put this initiative together and help get all the student athletes together on this platform. I think this truly has the potential to be something great. So I'm excited to see tonight this discussion and the ones ongoing from here. Throughout tonight's event, feel free to chime in, add a comment in the chat. We can definitely call on you. It's not a lecture or anything like that. It's more of a conversation. So this is really about you and engaging in good dialogue. With that said, I'm not going to talk very long. I'm not going to be long-winded. I'm going to turn it over to Joy Whittington, the Director of Athletics and Women's Basketball Coach at Lackawanna College, to introduce our guest speaker tonight.
Hey everybody. Sorry my video isn't working. The joys of technology. I apologize. But it's awesome to see all you guys here. I mean, it's just huge that you're here, that you're ready to learn and ready to listen. That says a lot about you guys as student athletes, and that shows, as an AD and a coach, that's huge. So our speaker today is a leadership consultant. She's done a lot of work with Lackawanna College. She's done a lot of work with me personally, and she's done a lot of work with a few of our teams and our administration at Lackawanna. You guys are really in for something special. Pay attention, absorb as much as you possibly can, take notes, bring it back to your coaches, whatever you got to do, especially in this time. This is very unprecedented. This is very untraditional. We really need resilience. We really need strength to push through some of this stuff. So it's really awesome you're all on. And without further ado, we call her Coach Bad. It's Beth Ann Delaney. So Coach Bad.
Hey, thanks, Joya. Hey, everybody. Nice to see all of you. It's great to be here. And as Joya said, we are in some tough times. And I love the word that she used, and that was resilience. And I want to talk a little bit about that today. That's a part of leadership. It's a part of living life. And everything that you do on the court or the field is all about how you live your life as well. We are in tough times. It's crazy out there. It's crazy that some of our activities have changed. Some of our ability to move about has changed a lot. The fear of health or getting sick, is always on our mind. How do we get together? How do we stay connected? It is a new climate. It is a new time. So the question is, how do we lead through this? What is leadership? How do we lead? How are you leading? That's what I'd like us to talk about today. When you think about your sport and the court and the game and the ball or whatever the sport might be, how does that apply to the way you lead your life? In other words, when you start the game, is that the same way you start your day? Are you ready? Are you focused? Are you ready to jump in there? That's the kind of stuff we still need even in this environment. We need you to jump in. We need you to be ready to start the day. How do you get started? How are you ready when you get up every morning and start to lead? How are you ready when you get on the field, when you get on the court, right? And you start to lead. How do we lead through this session? How do we hear your voice? Because that's another part that's really important. Leading is listening. Leading is having a voice. So I'd like to hear from a couple of you at least. How are you leading yourself as well as within your own sport, day to day? Give me a key word. Throw something out there that helps get this conversation going. How are you using your own leadership skills through this tough time? What are you doing differently? Or what are you doing the same? Anybody, jump in there. What's that?
Communicating.
You're communicating. Tell me more about communication. Why is that so important? And how are you communicating?
You gotta be more vocal. So like Zoom calls like this now, since you can't be in person.
Having patience.
Having patience. Communicating more. You got to jump in. What else? Say it out loud.
Being reasonable.
Wait.
Consistency.
Ty, turn your mic up.
I heard consistency. I heard passion. What else?
Determination.
Determination.
Patience.
Ah, that's right. I knew I heard that word, patience.
Taking initiative.
What is initiative? Tell me more about that.
Taking initiative, I feel like, is when you take something upon yourself to like really achieve your goal or whatever that goal may be. It's you're doing something to make that goal possible, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, that makes excellent sense. What you're saying is you take action and you're not waiting for anybody else to do it, right, Will?
Yes, ma'am.
That's right, exactly. You're gonna go, right? And you're gonna do it. You're not gonna wait for permission, you're not gonna wait for, and you're gonna do it respectfully. You're gonna jump in, you're gonna take the lead, right? And you're gonna get her done, right?
Yes.
Excellent, and you're gonna do that before, during, and after this kind of situation that we're in, right? Doesn't matter.
Always.
Right, always, no matter what the problem is, no matter what the challenge is, no matter what the situation is, right? Awesome. Will, what sport do you play?
I play basketball for Montgomery County Community College.
You play b-ball. How do you start your game? Tell me about you and how you start that game. Where's your head at?
My head, normally I'm in a real focused spot because I know that I have to have a certain headspace to play and compete, because when I play, I like to give it my all, specifically because I love my sport. And so with that, I like to make sure that I'm just playing my game, making sure I'm focused, making sure I get my team ready to go, because at the end of the day, it still is a team, and you have to make sure you're not the only person on the team that's ready to win and that's willing to succeed. So anything I could do to help my teammates or like anybody else that can achieve our goal of winning is what I'm going to do. Make sure we're all in that headspace.
And how does all of that apply to your day-to-day life off the court?
That's because I'm just that type of person, whether it's on or off the court. I'm going to take initiative. I'm going to get myself set up to achieve all my goals, no matter what it is.
Excellent. Excellent. That's a great story, Will. And that kind of determination, that kind of drive, that's going to take you down a very specific road to success. You're leading, and you're going to continue to lead, and you're going to continue to win in all aspects of your life. It's not just a basketball game that we're talking about. This is about life. How you start the day is how you get on the court, how you start the game, how you move through the game, what your moves are. Tell me what, for some of you, describe your moves on the court as compared to your moves in life. Who wants to jump in there on that one? Tell me about your moves.
Man, I can cross anybody
Say that again. Who was that? Jose?
Oh, sorry. I was talking to your friend. Sorry.
Okay. I'm interested in about how your moves apply on the court, on the field versus on life. Talk about that.
Well, you're all right. Anyway,
That was really scratchy. I don't know who that is. I'm getting a lot of static, so I'm not sure who that is.
anyway, in cross country, I've got to give it my all throughout the whole race, and I've got to be aware of what I'm doing.
Right?
Yeah, that's like what I've got to do to get through college. I mean, I've got to be focused. I've got to know what I'm doing the whole time.
Right.
It's
What happens if you lose that focus? What happens if your head starts to play games with yourself and you start slowing down? What happens then?
I mean, then I try to snap back into it.
Right.
I'll just like start slowing down, and that'll hurt my time horribly.
It will.
If I start slacking in school, then I'm doomed to fail.
Well, maybe. I don't know that you're doomed to fail because everybody has to pick themselves up and keep on going. Every opportunity is a learning opportunity. Every time you kind of like take a step back or you feel like you're losing the focus or you're losing that zone, it's an opportunity to get better. Every race, every time. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that.
Okay. And that's the same thing about life. That's the whole point about playing sports because it teaches us to keep going. It teaches us to continue to pick ourselves up and move forward. In every sport, we're moving forward. We're not going backwards. So every time we get a challenge, a disappointment, we get frustrated, we get hurt, we have to find a way to pick ourselves up and keep ourselves going. Think about these key words that everybody's talking about: consistency, passion, determination, patience. These are all different traits of leaders of all different kinds. And I'm not talking about leaders that are CEOs or have the big titles that are VPs. I'm talking about you, how you lead, and how these important traits need to continue to be developed within you in order to continue to lead. And I don't want you to forget these words. I hope some of you are writing them down. It's just like being in a basketball game. Are you playing offense or are you playing defense? And which one is more important? When you think about any team sport that has an offense and a defense, which one is more important?
I'd say they're both equally important.
Why is defense more important?
Because you only got to score one time, but you only got to keep them off the board forever.
You only have to score one time, did you say?
You only got to score one time to win the game, but if you keep the other team off the board, then you win.
Okay. What else?
I think they're equally important.
Generate offense.
Somebody said something about offense. Say it again if you don't mind.
Defense generates offense.
That's exactly right. Defense gives the offense the chance to score. So which one is more important?
Defense.
You think? Why?
Defense wins the game, always.
Defense wins the game. Always. Does everybody agree with that?
100%.
Yes.
Yes.
Defense wins.
No.
I'd say they're equally important. I mean, you need to score as much as you need to defend.
Defense wins
If you aren't
championships.
scoring, you aren't winning.
That's not always the case. You got to score too.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I mean, sure, you only got to score once, but if they start scoring on you, you've got to pick up your score as well. I mean, they're equally important. You got to defend just as much as you got to offense.
They're equally important. Who agrees with that? And why?
I agree.
I agree.
Why do you agree?
I think defense is a little bit more important only because anybody can score, but it's a matter of stopping the score, stopping somebody from scoring to win the game.
Okay, anybody else? What do you think?
I say both because when you're unstoppable on both ends of the court, it's like there's not much someone can do with you. That's what I think.
Okay. Anybody else?
I think it's a balance.
I feel like a team is going to score regardless. Both teams are going to score, but I feel like defense is more important because whoever stops each other from scoring the most wins the game.
Okay. How about some coaches out there? What are your thoughts? Which one's more important? What do the coaches think?
Coach Joy, what do you think?
Coach Joya, where you at?
I knew that was coming.
Where you at? Coach, what do you think, Coach? Defense. Come on.
You know that we are I'm a very defensive-minded person.
Tell him.
I would have to go defense.
Okay, Coach. There you go. Right. Good answer.
Yeah, coach.
Thank you,
Good
Coach.
answer. Anybody else?
I mean, offense. As long as you keep scoring on them, they can't do stuff. They can't really do anything to you. Just keep them on the defensive. What are they going to do?
All right, well, let's talk about this now in terms of how you live your life. Are you on the offense or are you on the defense every day?
Always on my defense.
Why?
Can't let nobody catch you off your 2 feet.
Okay, you can't let anybody catch you off guard.
I'm offense. I'm always attacking at my goal.
Attacking your goal. Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody else? What else?
I say both.
You say both, Tyler?
Yeah.
You're doing both.
Well, defense because you can't let anybody get in your way, and then offense because you gotta persevere to do what you gotta do to get where you need to go.
Excellent. Okay. Anybody else? What happens if you're always on guard, on defense in life? What happens?
You aren't going anywhere.
Why not?
I mean, you aren't pushing to get any. You aren't pushing to score anything. You're just making sure nothing can get to you. I mean, if you aren't scoring, you aren't achieving anything.
Okay. You're standing still is what you're saying. You're standing there waiting and you're always on the defense. You're not moving forward. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Beth,
Anybody else?
Yeah. This is Coach Bomar.
Yes.
I'm a product of Joya Whittington myself.
I'm sorry about that.
I used to coach with her. So we're yes, defensive minded, but to add to that, like you're saying, even with life, I think it's a balance, a balance of both. Like you're saying, when if you're heavy on one side, you miss opportunities on the other side.
That's right.
In life, so.
I agree with that 100%.
What's the point of defense with no offense?
Well, there's a philosophical statement. Absolutely. Say that again, Will.
I said, what's the point of defense with no offense?
What is the point of defense with no offense? That's exactly right.
I would argue that your defense can turn into offense.
Ooh.
It depends on what sport.
Will.
Definitely depends on what sport.
It does depend on what sport, but think about it. That's an important philosophy. It's important strategy. And that's what we're all talking about today. We're talking about strategies, not just about the sport. but strategies of living every single day. What you do as an athlete has the same strategies and skill sets and opportunities that you need to have everyday life. And it doesn't matter whether there's COVID-19 or not. We still need to move forward. We still need to have initiative. We still need to have defense. We still need to work as a team. In our country, there has been a long history of problems. This isn't new. It's a new opportunity to learn from. And every whistle on the basketball court or on the football field or whatever sport it might be, every whistle is an opportunity to get feedback, to learn about a mistake you just made, and to make things better. Every opportunity to get critical feedback so that we can continuously grow. That's what sport is, and that's what life is. Life is a continuous journey going forward. Now, you can use all the things that have happened to you in your life as an excuse not to move forward. You can give up, you can be sad, you can be depressed, you can be angry, you can be all those negative emotions, and then you're stuck not moving forward. But that's not what leadership is. And leadership is not easy. And leadership is not this person standing on a stage and all in their glory and famous and wealthy. That's not leadership. Leadership is how you serve. And leadership is not how you serve yourself, it's how you serve others. How you lead on the court, how you lead on the field, how you make decisions, how you communicate, how you strategize, how you problem solve. That's leading at every level. You are all emerging leaders. Do you know that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
When you hear that title, emerging leaders, I don't know you. I know that you're the next generation. I know that you're emerging in your skill sets, in your talents. All right, so tell me again, when you hear me call you emerging leaders, what does that mean to you?
I mean, someone with potential, someone who is not, well, yeah, someone who has potential to be a leader.
What else? Absolutely right. What else? What does it mean to you? Emerging leader. What does that mean to you?
Someone who's learning and applying their knowledge.
Yep. Learning, applying your knowledge, setting the tone every single day, whether it's on campus, whether it's in your classes, whether it's in your sport. You are emerging. So how are you going to lead? The big question in your life is that question, how? How are you going to continue to lead? How are you going to continue to hold yourself accountable? And how are you going to continue to hold each other, your teammates, accountable? The question is how you get up every single day. How do you get on that court? How do you lead? What's your attitude? What's your mental capacity? How do you lead every single day? What decisions that you make? What does it mean? What's the impact? How do you stay positive? And what are the things that are in your way right now? What are the things that you're worried about that make it difficult for you to stay positive?
COVID.
Right now for me, it's dealing with this grief. It's making it hard for me to stay focused.
The stress between college and work is taking a toll.
College and work?
Mm-hmm.
All these black people getting killed.
Yes.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
1,000% agree.
Okay.
I feel like it's just
matters.
life we're living is taking a toll on everybody, and we all have to learn how to adapt and change the way we live.
Do you think all of this pressure is new?
Absolutely not. But everybody deals with it differently.
Yes, everybody deals with it differently. And what I also meant by that is every generation, including yours, has had challenges and social injustice and all kinds of problems and economic and financial problems, food insecurities, you name it. Those challenges have existed for a long time. So as an emerging leader, as I'm asking you today to think about leading and to think about your voice, what's your plan? What do you want to do with this opportunity to lead? How are you going to hold yourselves accountable? How are you going to continue to stay positive? What's your plan? Do you have a plan? If we can, let's talk about.
We're getting some people that are making some comments in the chat. So one of them, to answer your question, said, try to connect with my teammates even in this difficult time.
Okay, how do we connect? That's a great start. How do we connect?
And guys, I think that's a really good way to communicate. If you guys want to throw some comments in the chat, I have no problem reading them out loud for Coach. Another comment was always stay positive.
Reaching out. Okay, making an effort to reach out. These are all really good ideas. Playing ball together, I see it now. Okay, awesome. I just think growing more with meeting new people, staying positive, just trying to grow from people and things around you. Excellent. Listening, the internet, building relationships. You guys got it. Absolutely. Okay, these are all great social connections. What else can you do? Communication. Absolutely. What else can you do? Yes, you can go to school. Yes, you can be successful. What else can you do? Whether individually and as a team, in order to lead, in order to be visible in your community, what else can you do?
You can feed the homeless.
That's exactly right. I want you all to think about service. Service individually or service as a team. That helps staying positive. That helps also giving back. That also builds a team as well. So think about building a plan that's not just about work. It's not just about school. It's not just about social activities, but it's also about being together and service. Everyone needs to get involved. It's also about building a plan about visibility and your voice. How do you want your voice to be heard about what you're worried about? The things that you mentioned earlier that's worrying you right now, whether it's COVID or staying together or Black Lives Matter. What about your voice? To voice it loudly, but how? How are you going to make a difference with your voice that hopefully is respectful, peaceful, nonviolent? What can you do? Think about what you can do as a team. Can you come together and do a clothes drive, a food drive, a coat drive? Think about what your community needs, wherever your campus is. Get involved. Yes, you can do a car wash as well. Raise money for the homeless, raise money for poor families. You can dedicate some of your games, do some fundraisers at your games. Yes, someone is saying, I think it's Brooke, car wash or maybe bake sale for some that need help with food. Excellent. Get active, be that voice. This is the stuff I'm talking about, making a plan. It's more than just going to work or school or being connected socially. It's also about giving back to your community, getting involved with what the needs might be, being visible and also talking about what your views are. Getting involved in your city, in your town, in your church, in your community as well. Helping each other, help others. It's a great way to give back. That's what emerging leaders do. They jump in when there's problems. They jump in when they know they need to lead and advocate for change. That's what an emerging leader does. It's about being able to pivot. Think about all your cool moves on the court or the field. How you switch up gears, how you fake the shot, how you drive the ball to put the ball in the hoop or to score at the end zone or run across the finish line. Those are the same kinds of things that you can do in your community as you help people cross the finish line. You be a mentor. Think about all the foster children. They might need your help too. Be a big brother, be a big sister. You've all been through a lot, back and forth, loss, problems, conflict. This is the time that emerging leaders navigate through these rough waters. And they don't sit back and they don't cry in a way that keeps them stuck. They let it all out. They get rid of the emotions, and then they build a plan. The plan is about how can I make a difference? When I talked about offense and defense, my philosophy is yes, they both are equally important. In life, you have to play offense in order to move forward. And in life, you have to play defense because you got to be ready for the problems, the challenges, the hardships, the fights in relationships. Emerging leaders and all kinds of leaders of all levels learn to navigate these kinds of challenges. That's what all of you need to do. Please don't sit back. And please don't stay stuck. Somebody's asking, who do you think is going to win, Lakers or the Rockets? I don't think we're talking about them tonight. So the plan going forward, folks, is to stay positive, to stay as a team, to continue to be the caregivers, to support each other, to hold each other accountable. What do you guys do in that sense? How do you talk to a teammate who's not doing their best, who's missing practice? How do you deal with that? How do you deal with an attitude problem with a teammate?
Yeah. Ask them politely but firmly to stop.
You reach out to them. You talk to them. On the side, you talk to them, you try to find out what's wrong, and you get them motivated again. Absolutely. You guys got this. You know exactly what you need to do. You know exactly how to motivate and to navigate the challenges that we have today. Staying positive for the future is what's really important. What other questions do you have? Are there any other questions out there? Make sure you are leading by example. What does that mean? What does leading by example mean?
I think it's just coming to work every day, just trying to get better every chance you have.
That's exactly right. Every day is an opportunity to learn. Every day is an opportunity to improve. I want you to think about, as we move forward, about, yes, doing the right thing when no one's watching. That's another good point. I also want you to think about the positive influencers in your life going forward. Who are those people that mean the most to you? Who are those folks that set you in the right direction, that help you continue to move forward? Who are some of those important influencers in your life? Name a few. You don't have to name their names, but what do they do? Yep, families, coaches, guardians, mentors. I want you to consider to keep those kind of people in your circle every single day. Those that positively influence you. Those are good friends. Those are people you can trust. Those that will tell you what you need to do at times when it's a struggle or a challenge. Positive influencers. I want you to think about a culture of openness on your teams and with your friends. A culture, an environment of acceptance. A culture, an environment of equality. And my hope is that you all have a voice for all of those things so that we can continue to fight the barriers and the biases and the stereotypes and those that don't respect others. Another person said, respecting and appreciating that playing a sport in college is a privilege. Be mindful of the opportunity for growth that is ahead of you. Taking full advantage of the opportunity. It is absolutely an investment in you. Absolutely. That's well written and well said. Very good. Being a team is about being together. What really is cool about leadership is that you should never lead alone, ever. You have the opportunity to collaborate. You have the opportunity to continue to build a great team together. Nobody ever has to be alone in this world. As long as you continue to have those positive influencers, that's the gift that we have when we build a healthy network, a healthy environment for all of us, a healthy team. Any other questions or comments about leadership? What is it that you need? Anything that you want to ask that you might need?
On how to develop a plan.
How to develop a plan?
Yeah. For those who may not have a plan and you know, and not know exactly how to lead, how to kind of, you know, focus on their future goals and things that they want to accomplish, but how do they start? How do they really, you know, get that initiative and drive going?
Okay, that's a great question. There's an opportunity to sit down with any of those positive influencers that I mentioned, to sit down and talk about goals, whether they're short-term or long-term. I think you can look at the categories in life, make some short-term goals about work, make some short-term goals about your sport, make some short-term goals about your schoolwork. I would suggest you sit down with your coach. I would suggest you sit down with a counselor, whether it's a career counselor, a teacher, a parent, anyone that can help sit down and look at the different things that you want to plan going forward. It's also about planning what kind of person you want to be. You talked about a lot of great traits today, ladies and gentlemen. You really did. A lot of important traits that are important in terms of being a successful person, as well as being a successful leader. Build a framework from which to lead. And that usually starts with the type of person you want to be. An honest person, a person of integrity, a person of being proud and being you know, sociable and being able to collaborate, a person that wants to listen. Those are all frameworks about being a good person, as well as the traits that are important in being a leader. So being able to sit down and talk to a coach or a teacher or a professor or a counselor, any of those folks can sit down and help you build that plan. Does that make sense? Did that answer your question? Any other questions? We have a statement here that says, start by leading by example. Do the things you can control, starting with attitude and effort. Surround yourself with those that have the same goals as you. Don't be afraid to fail. It is part of the process. That's really great advice. Be humble and ask questions. Be coachable. There's another great point. Being able to take feedback. Listen to your coaches. They're going to give you critical feedback so you can improve. Trust the process. That's a really great point as well. You're all learning. We're still all learning, no matter how old we are. Being able to see yourself realistically in the mirror and being able to continue to grow. I don't know what's happening. There we go. Other questions before we end for today? What did you learn? What are the takeaways from our discussion today? What are the takeaways? Learn from your mistakes. Be able to admit when you're wrong. What are the other takeaways from tonight? That
Leadership requires initiative.
What's that?
Leadership requires initiative.
Leadership requires initiative, lead by example, have a positive mindset, communicate, be a team member, listen, love the process. What you do in your sport on the court or on the field is also all about life. Remember, emerging leaders is exactly that title. That's you. You're emerging, you're developing, you're learning. Give yourself the chance. Don't give up. And I'm not suggesting that any of you would. It doesn't sound like any of you will ever give up. And that's what we need, no matter what the challenges are. Leadership is about going forward and being able to walk through the potholes and being able to continue to pick yourself up. Have a plan, be ready to take the steps that you need to achieve your goal. Absolutely build a plan. Take life
I have
seriously,
a question.
but also have a lot of fun. Go ahead.
Okay, so what made you want to be a leader and what challenges did you face during that time?
That's a great question. For me, I had no plan to be a leader. Life happened. I got married, had a kid, got a divorce. And that divorce set the stage for me. It made me pivot in a way that I never expected. I started my own business. I was able to develop my own plans, and I learned as I went on. Everything I did was a part of a smaller plan, then I built a bigger plan, but life happened and it kind of steered me in a direction I didn't realize I was going. So as a licensed clinical social worker, I was able to sit down with a lot of families and a lot of individuals and a lot of people that were struggling. I built what was called an employee assistance program, and I was able to help employees and their family members be better. And that led into leadership, and that led into leadership training. And so sometimes life will roll out some different kinds of potholes for you unexpectedly, and then all of a sudden, if your journey leads you to different places you never thought you would go. What's that? Any other questions?
If you're being watched by your advisor, and if you're not being watched by an advisor, what actions do you take differently than you do on a normal basis?
Be the same person whether you're being watched or not. Don't be duplicitous. In other words, don't be somebody in front of others that you're not when you're alone. Be the same person of integrity. Be the same person of core values and core beliefs with a great foundation of believing in yourself, not to the point of arrogance, but to the point of confidence. Be the same person. Be real, be honest, be humble. These are all important traits of being a good person and being an effective leader. Any other thoughts? Folks, can leadership be taught or is it something you just do? That's a great question. What do you think? What do you think? Are leaders born?
I think it can be taught, but it's better if it's just something you just pick up and do, because that'll make you a better leader.
Some people are better at it than others from birth, but anyone can lead if they try hard enough.
Depends
They
on the
put in the
character.
effort to learn how to lead, then anyone can become a leader.
I feel like leaders aren't made, leaders aren't born, they're made, if that makes sense.
Yeah, researchers aren't quite sure whether they're born or if they're made. I think there's an approach where there's a balance of both. It depends on you. It depends on whether or not you like people. See, leadership is about people. And so you could lead alone, but nobody's going to follow. You can be an authoritarian or a narcissistic leader, but not many people are going to follow. Not many people are going to believe in you. So it depends on what kind of leader you are and what you believe in. If you're an authoritarian leader, then you're telling everybody what to do. You're not listening. If you're a leader of the people, then you're going to listen and you're going to serve everybody. So it depends on your philosophy of leadership.
Personally, when I look like as President Obama and Michelle, I think like the leader will be nothing without the supporter, you know, and looking up like who's backing up the leader, who is giving their opinion behind the leader. That is actually the most powerful part that makes it stand.
So you're saying who are the influencers of those leaders? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Yes, that makes a difference too. Who's on the team? You know, think about your own teams. Is there one or two team members that you just don't like, that they don't fit in? You know, is there a troublemaker, someone with an attitude? You know, think about your team as a leadership team. Is everybody aligned with the goals of the team? Does everybody agree? Is everybody serving each other rather than themselves? Leadership isn't selfish. Leadership is about serving others. And yes, listening is one of the most important parts or important pieces of being a leader. Your personality is a very important part of being a leader. How do you get along with others? Do you listen? Do you have fun? Do you share ideas and information? Do you share values? Do you share ideas? Are you creative? Are you sociable? Those are all different parts of a leadership personality as well. Being able to communicate, being able to listen. Terrence is saying there's no genetic proof that someone is born a leader. You're absolutely correct. Leadership is also about having heart and passion. What are you passionate about? What gets your heart going? You know, think about that. And that passion and emotion also leads to purpose. What's your purpose in life? What is going to be your purpose in life? Throughout my career, my purpose changed from being married to divorce to building a company to coaching to doing all different kinds of things. Purpose may change, but does your heart? Leadership is about serving others. It is not intended to be all about you. Being on a team, it's not all about you. It's about your team. And everybody on the team leads within their position. Stay in your lane. Stay in your position so that you're there when your teammate needs you. That's the way it is in life too. So think about your heart, your emotion, your passion. Where is it going to take you? Think about that vision. Where are you going to be in 5 years? Where are you going to be in 10 years? Right now, we're kind of stuck in the day-to-day because of COVID, and you know, we're limited in our activities. But that doesn't mean life isn't going to go on, and that doesn't mean you shouldn't think about what's your vision. Where are you going to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10? That's where your heart and your core values and your sense of purpose will drive you. Terrence, you're on a roll here, dude. No significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. It's a quote by James Comer. Excellent. So ladies and gentlemen, think about your heart, your soul, your role as a leader. And you think about that word leadership. There's a action in it. There's relationships in it. There are tough decisions in being a leader. There's a lot of leading others, serving others. But think about what your heart is and where that's going to take you. Don't stay stuck in the day to day. Think about where your heart's going to take you. Think about where your leadership is going to take you. Not just today, not just when you graduate, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. Build a network of good people around you. The good influencers that I talked about. Leadership has a voice. Make sure you have yours. Make sure you have a peaceful voice, a respectful voice. Make sure your leadership makes a difference. That's leadership. Moving forward to make a difference. Any other questions or comments?
Dream big.
Yeah, I like that. Dream big. That's exactly right. Because if you really want to, if you really mean it, if you really believe it, you can do anything you want and you can become anything you want. You just got to work for it. Nobody's going to give it to you. Nobody gave it to me. Nobody gave it to any of your coaches or any of your administrators. You got to go get it.
Well, thank you, Beth Ann Delaney. This was a great session, great conversation. Please continue this conversation with your teams. Take this conversation and really keep it going. Also, I want to point out our next EPAC Leadership Series will be in October. It will be on race and inequality. So definitely look forward to that invitation. It'll be sent out on a Zoom link from your coaches and athletic administrators. So thanks again for coming, and hopefully we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Learned a lot from this conversation.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good luck, everybody.
Thank you.